My name is Bill Leonard. I'm the gardener here at Dunvegan Gardens. Today we're going to talk about squash and its uses, and just to let you know that there's over 700 varieties of squash. Today we're going to talk about my top 5 squash. And we're going to start with number 5, which is the butternut. The butternut squash comes in different colors and different shapes. A lot of times it looks more like a pear-shaped, but it's basically the main squash out of New Zealand and Australia. This is where they developed this squash. There's a summer squash and there's a winter squash. The summer squash has a thinner shell and can be eaten. The winter squash is a harder shell and it takes a lot of effort to cut. Number 4 is the Kabocha squash. Basically, it was developed in Japan. That's where the name comes from. It's very prominent in Japan, and also is very prominent in countries such as Jamaica, which they call it their Halloween pumpkin. It can be cut in half, a little bit of oil, a little bit of cinnamon, 30 minutes in the oven at 375, you'll love it. Coming in at number 3, my third choice, is the spaghetti squash. It seems to be a lot of people's favorite these days. More people are starting to understand what the squash is about and how it can be used. It's a simple squash, it's very easy to prepare, and it is what it says, spaghetti squash. You cut it in half, you bake it in the oven, you can cut it in chunks, but what happens is if you just cut it in half and you take a fork and you scrape the fork through the squash, it looks like spaghetti strings. Number 2 on our list. Spaghetti squash was a favorite for a lot of people, but this next one is a favorite with almost everybody. It could be made into bread, it could be made into sauces, it could be made into relish, and that is the zucchini. People like eating it sliced, people slice it this way. It doesn't matter how you prepare your zucchini, it's going to come out good every time. Number 1 on my list, and probably everybody's list, is our Halloween favorite, the pumpkin. The problem is we only really recognize it at Halloween. This is a fruit that could be used all year round. You can make bread out of it, you can make soups out of it, so it doesn't matter what you do with a squash or a pumpkin, you can do something with all of them. With the pumpkin, that I like to do, especially with my grandchildren, is I collect the seeds, I boil them in salt water for 10 minutes, then I just baste them with lightly with oil and bake them in the oven. They're fantastic.
And that's all for this top 5. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at ShawTV4MC and use the hashtag TopInTheMac to give us ideas for the next top 5.